Fire fans, hello and welcome back to another match preview episode on the Stevenage Football Club podcast. Here we go, top of the table football this week. My God, not only do we have Cardiff City on Tuesday night, what a game, eh? First place, and who would have thought that in the summer that we'd be in a third v first game near Christmas as well. We also go to Stockport on Saturday as well, and Stockport are in fifth, so it's a massive week for the team. This is what football is all about. And we're still pinching ourselves that we are up there after 16 matches. But Cardiff is next on the itinerary. They come to our place on Tuesday night. Cardiff have had fantastic season so far, right at the top of the table. Really, really top side. And we're going to find out a little bit more about Cardiff on this preview episode. And we will have a little chat about the match as well. Joining me on the Stevenage Football Club podcast tonight, we've got Simon from the Cardiff City World by Ace podcast nation. Simon, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Very good. Just saying to you that I'm enjoying football again this season, I think is probably the best way to put it.
I was just saying to you off the pod, mate, it felt like, what was it, for about three years you were kind of down the
Yeah.
bottom of the championship, weren't you? And are they going to go? And then you'd stay up. And then it was the same next season. You stayed up. And then it eventually happened, mate. Did it kind of feel like that your end?
Yeah, it was brutal because we just kept making bad decisions. And like you're looking at it and you're just thinking, Jesus, what are we doing? And we just keep bringing in the kind of the same type of manager. It was like, and he was just like flirting with relegation, get out of it. And then that temporary manager would take over, get sacked 6 months later, and then repeat. And it was kind of like, and then last year, it really felt like Christmas was when we sort of lost it really because we had such a bad December and then into Christmas. We just, up to Boxing Day, I think we barely took a point from a whole month. And it just felt like this is going down like without even a fight at this point. But it did get a little bit better for a while, but the damage was done in that sort of December period. And that's why it's really interesting, I think, coming into this now. And like you've got a massive week, but also coming into the Christmas period, because there's so many games like close together that if you can just string like, a few wins, a couple of draws, you're laughing because it's really, really weird. Like we feel like we've had our ropey patch recently, or sort of like about over the last month. It's been all right the last couple of games. And it feels, touch wood, like we're through that ropey period. So it's like if we can get a good run going into Christmas, suddenly you'd be interesting to see what the sort of layout is of the table, because where we've dropped points, so have other people. So we're still top. So yeah, I'm fascinated by it because I've been impressed by some teams that have come and we've beaten them, and then we've sort of dropped points against teams which I was less impressed by, and we've kind of struggled. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Stevenage has been the one probably from about 4 weeks into the season when I was like, yeah, that's going to be massive, especially because we play you twice in like under a month.
Yeah, it is. It's one over Christmas as well, isn't it? It's
Mm.
and you know you're one of the games. Obviously, when the fixtures look out, you look for everyone. But you the team that we looked at on the fixture list. Oh, when we got Cardiff, and I swear to God, mate, if someone would have said that this match would have been a third v first match, I think we would have been like, wow, really?
Mm.
But no, it's been wonderful. I was going to ask you actually before I ask you about kind of coming into this season. Do you think it was a bit of a blessing for Cardiff coming down, just for the simple fact that you can kind of rebuild and stuff like that? Or?
So it is weird, right? Because it's my view that getting relegated is never the answer. However, because we got relegated, the owner, who's a character, and the board, who have, look, let's call a spade a spade. They've made some bad decisions in recent years, and they were kind of forced to make a decision whereby they either was going to go with like someone experienced. I know they spoke to Nathan Jones, and that looked like at one point it was going to happen. But Brian Barry Murphy came in and did an interview, and he knew all the academy players, all the young players. He had a plan for what he was going to do with the club. And I know that from his first interview, he jumped from, quite an interesting candidate to top of the list. And yeah, as it panned out, he came in. And I was excited by him. I had done a video probably 6 months before saying they needed to get him in just somehow get him in the football club because he's got such a good mind for it. And I was very happy then. 6 months later, he was the manager, and I was excited by it because, I got a lot of friends at the club, particularly in the under 21 system, and we got a lot of really good players coming through, and you just needed a manager to give them an opportunity. And Brian Barry Murphy is definitely going to do that. Whereas, we've had Neil Warnock, Neil Harris, Errol Bullock. They're never going to play the youngsters. Neil Warnock didn't rate Ruben Colwell, whereas the whole side is built around Ruben Colwell now. And it's like these young players, they need a manager who's going to give them a chance to play. And, usually it's one or two maybe, and not the majority of the team. But it's exciting because I think, and I don't know what you would think about this, but I think almost every fan's dream is to obviously, play footballers and win football matches at the highest possible level, win trophies, whatever. But if you can do it with homegrown kids, like just boys and who get it, like they're fans themselves. If they weren't playing, they'd be in the stand themselves. I think that's what every fan really would love to have, is people who genuinely care. And just on that, to finish, one of the many errors that the board made was bringing in, we had like 4 or 5 loan players, 6 loan players at times, or whatever the maximum is. And like those players just don't care. Like ultimately, you might get the odd one who comes on loan and then signs on a permanent deal the season after. But generally speaking, most of them don't care. They're there to get fit. They're there because they're not getting, they're looking for a move, whatever it may be. So if you're in a relegation fight or even a promotion battle, and you've got half the starting 11 doesn't really care whether they sort of win or lose to a certain degree, it's a problem,
It's really interesting. At the start of the season, I said to the guys on our podcast, I just assumed that Cardiff would be right up there, just for big club. I said to our guys as well, I said I wouldn't be surprised if Cardiff went straight back up. That, this league seemed a very open division in the summer. I think we all said it. Then normally with League One, you have these outstanding sides that just run away with it. It just didn't feel like that with this division. And one of my mates said to me, Cardiff are going with a lot of younger players this season. And that could potentially be an issue. And I thought, well, potentially, but it's Cardiff City. Was that the case right from the get-go? It was going to be younger players and more youth coming into the setup for this season?
Yeah, because effectively we released, I think we released every single player over 25, more or less, apart from Perry NG, Ryan Wintle, Callum Chambers, and Callum Robinson.
Why was that? Was that just...
I think the manager decided they didn't fit the way he wanted to play. So we released, Andy Rinamotta, who was player of the year last year for us, and he got released. Joe Rawls was the club captain, got released. Aaron Ramsey, obviously, a legend of the club and Welsh football, was, I wouldn't say released, but he didn't get a new contract. It was Mate, all these championship proven players, really, if not higher in some cases, they were all just told, you don't fit. And effectively it was because Brian Barry Murphy wants to play such a high pressing, high tempo, moving the ball quickly. They just didn't fit it. And I was excited by it because, if I'm being honest, a lot of those names have been the ones who've been in the squads for the last 3-4 years, and we've been struggling, whether it's because the manager or whether it's because those players haven't been doing the job that they should be, or they haven't been fit to play. Either way, they haven't been much use in terms of trying to progress the football club. And now it does feel, goes back to your original question, was getting relegated the right thing? No, it's never the right thing, but what it's allowed us to do is completely reset what a football club's about. And you look at the other players who are not academy players. You got, Yusuf Salic is the top scorer in the division. Alex Robertson is a phenomenal footballer. I'm trying to think. Will Fish, obviously ex-Man United. There's a lot of, and they're all under 25. They're sort of 23, 22, 21. So it's exciting because they're all so young, and you're just looking at it and thinking, if we can hold on to them for a couple of years, they could all probably play in the chat. Well, a few of them did play in the championship last year and did all right. So it's kind of exciting in that sense. The worrying thing is that I think January is going to be painful because I think there's already clubs sniffing around Dylan Lawler and like really big clubs in his case as well, which is even more worrying because not many players are able to turn down those kind of top clubs. But, we'll see. Hopefully we can hold on to a lot of them until the summer. But that is a worry, I got to say, is that some of them might get picked off in January.
It's been an unbelievable season. Obviously up the top, first place at the minute. 17 games played, 11 wins, most wins in the division, 2 draws, just 4 defeats, 31 goals scored in the division. I do believe that puts you the highest goal scorers, just 17 conceded, 35 points. And at the minute, you've won all your games in your last 3. Talk to us about it this season, Simon. The squad, the playing style. How's it been, mate? I can imagine everyone at Cardiff at the minute is generally really happy, right, with this season.
Yeah, it's look, mate, it's exciting, and there's no other way to put it. And I think the good thing has been, like, even when we haven't been very good and when we've had that ropey spell, the football's pretty good to watch. So it's like you don't feel like your soul's being destroyed when you're watching it, which is what it's been like for the last couple of years. It's been painful. So there's a lot of excitement because there's so many homegrown players in there. And it also, we feel, I think collectively as like a fan base, they're still learning, and they're still learning the way the manager wants to play. They're still getting used to playing men's football for some of them. So we haven't hit like our real sort of groove, I don't think. I think yesterday was pretty close to it, but I still think we'll get better as the season goes. Obviously, if everyone stays fit is the main thing, I guess, isn't it?
This Yusuf Salek, I see his name crop up all the time on the goals. It did yesterday. I got to be honest. When I was doing a little bit of shopping in the day on Saturday, I thought, you know what, I've got to keep an eye on Cardiff, Huddersfield, and obviously Bradford, Plymouth as well, oddly. But I saw his name crop up again. Was Salek someone from the academy, or was he?
No. We signed him last January. So when we were trying to stay up, we signed him to try and get the goals to stay up, and he was very, very good. You could see what a player he is. Like, he's a genuine. There's not many of them around, but he's a genuine number 9. He's a big, big lad. I think he struggled a little bit in League One actually this year initially, where he cannot get a free kick, cannot buy a free kick, and I think he was getting really frustrated with that. And I think the manager sort of had a chat with him about just try and just keep yourself away from it a little bit. And he's done that the last few games. He's sort of made himself a bit more elusive. But as a footballer, he's great in the air. His link-up play is good. He can run in behind. He's an all-round, old-school number 9, which, again, makes him prime for clubs. But he turned down a couple of moves in the summer because he wanted to stay at Cardiff. So my hope is that, that'll be the same this January at least. But yeah, he's a real good footballer.
I've got your list of squad up in front of me again. When I look at your squad, I love some of these players. Perry NG, I remember him at, was it Crewe? I think Crewe. Yeah, right back at Crewe. Again, Cole, you've got some really good players. Who have been there? I know obviously Yusuf Salek has obviously been, top goal scorer at the minute in division. Who have been the kind of outstanders for you this season?
Everyone's been so good. I think Ruben Colwell has been superb. He's the vice captain, but he's been captain the majority of the time. He's actually out injured now till the new year. He's just been sensational. But Dylan Lawler is probably one of the standouts. He's 19 now, and first year of professional football. He made his debut last year against Villa in the FA Cup, and he was playing up against like Rashford and Asensio and these types of players, and he just looked like a Rolls Royce. And then he sort of didn't really play. He should have played, and he didn't play last year. But this year he's played, pretty much every time he's fit. Him and Will Fish have got a really good partnership. They do try and look after him a little bit and kind of rest him now and again. But I think as he gets physically stronger, he will, he'll just keep going. Like I think the list of clubs which are kind of keeping tabs on him is insane. It was like Dortmund, Munich, Man United, Man City, Chelsea. So you can imagine, like, that's the sort of standard of footballer. Like, he is one of the best defenders I've ever seen as an like a modern day footballer for someone who's come to Cardiff, like, because on the ball he is just so good at like threading it through the lines and just setting up attacks. And I think physically he kind of would need a bit of work because he's young, but I think even between the start of the season and now, that's improved as well. So you could see like he's going to go and play football at a much higher level than where we are now.
Yeah. And we've got a couple of players in our squad like that where we look and we think, oh, potentially they're going to go up a level, but you get reimbursed for it, which is the great thing about
hopefully
football. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, we got an owner who's a bit charismatic, should we say? And we never seem to sell well. I mean, we had when we sold Aaron Ramsey he was like talking to Man United, and then he went to Arsenal, and I think we sold him for like 5 million or something, and it was just such a like underwhelming fee at the time. I remember being really disappointed, but I think now I would like to think that they know what they've got now with a couple of these lads. Kapakio, who plays right back, sort of interchanges with Perry NG. He's another one, sort of 18 and just so quick going forward, and the rest of it. Like, there's a lot of there's so many of these young lads who have done so well, and it's Ruben Colwell's got a younger brother called Joel who's also in the first team, who's done in his first season. He was on loan at Cheltenham last year and got their young player of the year, and then he went on loan to Exeter in League One for the second half of the season. But yeah, there's a lot of them, and at the moment they're all doing pretty well.
Now, we play each other twice, as you've said, over the next 3 weeks. Tuesday night and then over Christmas. Me and the lads are coming down and staying in Cardiff on that
nice
weekend and coming to the match. We can't wait. And they're big matches. I mean, Tuesday again, 31st, absolute cracking game. What's your kind of take on Tuesday, Simon? Because I'm excited to see the two styles and what that's going to look like Tuesday night. What's your kind of take on it Tuesday?
It's difficult, right? Because it's difficult for me to sit here and say that without sounding like really arrogant, but like I expect us to have a lot of possession. Like we seem to have 60-70% of possession. And then it's kind of which version of us turns up. Because sometimes the one criticism of us sometimes this year, particularly before the last few games, has been that when we do come up against a team which is quite sort of defensively solid, like Bolton were the best team I've played. I think we've played defensively. They were so solid, and they knew exactly what they had, what their job was, and they were very difficult to break down, and then scored a late goal. And I think we move the ball a bit slow sometimes when we come up against teams like that, and then it becomes a bit sort of sideways, kind of that sort of thing. But when we move the ball quickly, we are very difficult to stop. And I've said a few times over on different shows and media and stuff that we are, I think, one of the hardest teams to play if we get 1-0 up, because it kind of plays into our hands completely. But I'm really interested because I think, like I said to you, Stevenage was the one I was looking at from, probably a few games in, where you were just quietly going about your business, just sort of moving up the table. And I think it's going to be a really, really difficult game. And I think for you guys, it'll be difficult for the manager and the coaching staff because, of course, you've got to focus on Tuesday, but you also have to have one eye on Saturday as well. And I think that's where it could be difficult for Alex Rebel, who's obviously got a bit of an ex-Cardiff connection himself. It's a tricky one. I think it's going to be. I'm not quite sure how the game's going to go. I usually do a video on like manager versus manager and their styles and stuff, but because it's a midweek game, I'm not sure I'm going to have the time to do it, which I'm a bit gutted about. But I'll do it for the second game at least. But I'll get some information off you as well.
Yeah, mate, hit me up on that. I'd be more than happy to give you some info. And yeah, Alex Ravel, of course, he was at Cardiff, wasn't he, for a bit, Revs? And he's done an unbelievable job at our place and what he's created this season. It'll be exciting, mate. Score prediction, Simon. What do you reckon for Tuesday?
So I'll say this: my last 3 previews, I've had the predictions like exactly right. So hopefully I'll get it right again.
No way.
I'm going to go. I'll go 2-1 Cardiff, but I do think it's going to be tough. And I honestly, I'd like if we can take 4 points from the two games, I'd be pretty happy. Like, because I think away from home is so difficult, and I know it's hard, right? Because expectations are really high, and sometimes, like when we've drawn away, like we drew at Stockport, but we got a really late equaliser, and fans get so carried away with being top of the league, or it's League One, we should be going straight up. But away travels are difficult, midweek especially. So
yeah. Absolutely love that. But look, Borough fans 2-1. I think it'll be a really close game Tuesday. I'm not sure what score you have made my mind up, but I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. When you look, two best defences in the divisions, I'm excited to see how it kind of plays out on Tuesday. Simon, mate, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can all the Borough fans and Stevenage Football Club fans go and find the podcast, mate?
It's YouTube, Spotify, all the normal places. It's on the TalkSport fan network as well. Just at Cardiff City World, and it's there 7 days a week. So there's always something on there. We got an interview with Dave Jones coming up, former Cardiff City manager as well, coming up soon as well. So that's there's loads of interesting stuff, and we also got a series called Inside the EFL, where I go to a club inside the EFL. I go speak to someone. So I did an episode on Reading, and I went and spoke to their CEO, Joe Jacobson. I'm going to Newport and Cardiff soon, and I'm also hoping to go to a few others. So if you've got any connections in the club which you want to hook me up with for that, I'll welcome them, because I want to travel around and do a bit of interviewing, bit of photography and videos and stuff at the club. Most of the clubs that I've spoken to so far have been really open to it and really helpful. So hopefully that'll continue, and I can next year really sort of branch out across the leagues and do some good stuff.
Yeah, mate, sounds great. And I'm sure there's a few connections that we could put you through with our club. We like to do things like that. So yeah, we'd be more than happy to sort that out for you, mate. Borough fans, please go and follow the podcast. Great little listen and watch. And fantastic content coming out. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this match preview episode. We'll be back on Wednesday reacting to the big match on Tuesday. And we'll be looking ahead to another top of the table clash against Stockport on Saturday. Guys, thank you so much. Like us and give us a subscribe on YouTube. Also like us on all the audibles. Have a great week, guys. We'll be back Wednesday. At this time, as always, you've been listening to the Stevenage Football Club podcast.